Hey, Newsa-Cast listeners. Just want to give you a little information about the mission of the Newsa-Cast. Our mission stems from the mission of the Red Smith Banquet, and that mission was to support youth sports in the Fox Valley. Over the 57 years of its existence, we've been honored to give out over $1 million to various youth sports organizations throughout the Fox Valley. The Newsa-Cast is looking to continue that mission and support youth sports as well. You can help us do that by donating to the Newsa-Cast and the Red Smith Sports Banquet.
On the Newsa-Cast, we talk to Appleton Park and Rec extraordinaire, Niki Wendt. We talk all things Park and Rec, and it's good timing because their spring-summer catalog just came out. It's available online, folks. It's big. It has a lot to offer. Nikki and I dive into all of that. Tosh and I, we take an old look at new. Brought to you by Raleigh Winter and Associates. We throw it back to the great, to the legendary, to one of the top names to ever come to the Red Smith Banquet, the one, the only Dr. J. Tosh and I end the show like we always do with a little It's Forgotten and I'm Never Forgetting. So what do you say, folks? Let's get this show on the road.
Honestly, our playground program holds a special place in my heart. Just learning about the rich history of that program here in Appleton and, Coach Witzke back in 1942 deciding he's going to start this program. These kids need somewhere to go, a safe space in the summer. Really humbling stories that go along with just the connections that the leaders have made with these, what we call parkies. That probably will always be one of my favorite programs that we do.
Welcome to the Newsa-Cast. What is a Newsa-Cast? It's where we bring local folk stories to life through conversation.
All right, Newsa-Cast listeners, welcome to another episode of the Newsa-Cast, coming at you again with another excellent episode. Joe had a fantastic chance to talk with Niki Wendt.
Did Tosh. This is going to be a banger of an episode as I bang my phone right into the microphone stand. So I apologize for that loud, obnoxious noise. But yes, Niki Wendt from Appleton Park and Rec. She's the basically she's the director of any program that most of the programs you see, T League and Park and Rec Summer League and things like that. Nikki's the one responsible for that. Her and it's a small team at in the Appleton office that really run Park and Rec, and it services a lot of people. So it was cool to catch up with her. We learned a lot, and it's pretty cool. Appleton has always had a strong Park and Rec. It's something to be proud of for sure.
Yeah, I know I wasn't part of the interview, but when you really think about it, growing up, I think almost every family who has kids has been touched by the Park and Rec here at Appleton. It's just been traditionally a fantastic program.
Yeah, no doubt. It's always been strong, and it's an asset to the community for sure. And Tosh, I was thinking too this week. We always talk about what we did this week, but I'm thinking of our talk with Dale Vervoort from Fox City Fox City Sports magazine. Man, what a great interview. We really reminisced about so many different things, but it was kind of cool what we talked about, and Park and Rec was kind of part of that. But it was great to catch up with Dale. You guys, everybody should check that out for sure.
Yeah, that was a good episode, and this week will be just as good because when you think about strong communities, you think about strong programs for those communities. And the Park and Rec is definitely, we have some excellent programs. We have the Y Park and Rec, our youth sports programs here in the area. And we're not even mentioning a program like theater, like the Attic, which is, I think they're celebrating. They have a big fundraiser coming up at Poplar Hall, I heard. I think the Attic started in 1950. So they've been doing community plays since then. So, Yeah, we have so many good programs here in our community. It's the Fox City is blessed with things to do.
On the day this episode comes out on a Thursday, Tosh, Yonder Mountain String Band will be at Poplar Hall.
Yeah, are you going?
I think so. As the night that we record here, I don't actually have my ticket, but yeah, I can't get off. But I think I should make it in time. They probably won't hit the stage till a little after 8. So I'll. The plan is to go. I'd love to see him. I saw him a year ago. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Poplar. We've talked about Poplar a lot. It's a fantastic hall. The sound is good, and man, with the temperatures that we've been having here, and dead of winter, it'd be great to catch a sweet indoor jamgrass show.
Yeah, there you go. This should be a fantastic show. Yeah, it'll be a lot of fun. Definitely.
Yeah, I'll keep you informed, Tosh. You know what else was a lot of fun? I told you this before we hit record, but Larry Zonka, 1991 Red Smith Banquet. He came as the main speaker. You talk about a bunch of one-liners, terrific. I mean, incredible stories of Dick Butkus, Bob Greasy, the Packers, him being a Dolphin. Larry's one of the toughest guys ever. Bob, it's just and Joe Montana, great story of Joe Montana. The thing starts off at literally the very first joke for anybody that's old enough, and nobody's going to remember this, but Bob Lloyd, you remember him, longtime radio voice of WHBY. He was the master of ceremonies at the Red Smith Banquet for at least the first 20, and he was there when Zonka was there. Bob used to always wear these outrageous blazers with Miller logos and things like that. But Zonka has just an all-time joke about a teeny weeny. It was epic. In 1991, you and I were 21. I mean, Tosh, you talk about buckets of beer on the table, chicken dinner. Yeah, I'm sure you could still smoke in the hotel, anywhere. Just incredible, and an incredible night. I'm sure. I can't remember if we went out that night, but I can't see why we wouldn't have gone out that night. We would have been 21 years old.
Yeah, Zonka he was character definitely at the Red Smith Banquet. So you should go back and check that out if you haven't. That's on our YouTube channel. To get the full one, just came out last Sunday. So. Just go check that out because it was a lot of fun.
Absolutely. And no question, Tosh, even if we weren't quite 21, our ID would have got us in anywhere. It went up against the book.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Nobody knows anymore. We lived in a different world.
So besides listening to former football players from 1991, what else have you been up to, Joe?
I read, just an interesting piece of news that because they're near me, but they're also a staple in Appleton. But Wilmer's Chocolates opening another location in downtown Neenah. It's kind of cool.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
that's fantastic. Yeah,
they
that's
have ice
awesome.
cream too this time, Tosh.
They have everything.
Yeah,
that place is fantastic.
Oh, so
nothing
good.
Like good chocolate.
Yeah, there really isn't. There really isn't. Nothing like good chocolate. How about you, Tosh? Anything? I have nothing exciting in my life, Tosh. So tell me something exciting.
Yeah. This past week was the Oshkosh North musical, and they did Catch Me If You Can.
Yeah.
And I had the pleasure of going with Melissa on Sunday. We hit up the Ruby Owl in Oshkosh for some lunch, which if you haven't hit that place on Main Street, the Ruby Owl is one of our favorites. Some great burgers, great food, great beverages.
What's your order?
I had the candied bacon jam burger.
Yeah,
and it was fantastic. Really, really good. So great food. I'll be honest, they have some of the best cheese curds that you will ever have as well. So some deep fried cheese curds are always good as well. But yeah, we ate there, and then we headed to the play, and just super impressed. You've talked about it with your daughter at Appleton North, but I'm super impressed by the talent of these young people. And it was if you remember the movie, maybe you read the book, but remember the movie with Tom Hanks and Leonardo DiCaprio?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Great movie.
It was a great show. A lot of fun. And the Grand is a cool old theater in Oshkosh. So, it was excellent. Yeah. And that's where we sat. Yeah.
It's right downtown, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever been in it.
Yeah. It's cool. It's a cool old building. So very, very cool to have it there. We don't have a super large auditorium at Oshkosh North. So we take it there, and I should say they take it there, and they do the shows there. As part of their upcoming referendum in Oshkosh is to put a new auditorium on Oshkosh North. So we'll see if that passes and we get the luxury to do that. That would be fantastic. But it is cool to have it at the Grand. It's an old classic theater. So yeah, that was my excitement. It was a lot of fun to check that show out.
Oh, that's so cool. I think at the end of the day, I bet you the kids probably, any theater geek, I'm sure, would like, the old school, right? Theater house. I think it's got to be 100 years old at least, right?
I know it would be easier for them just to transition from school to the auditorium. But yeah, I'm sure it's, it's nice to have it there. I'm sure there are some difficulties being in a different building and setting the stage and all that kind of stuff. But they made it work, and they did a fantastic job. So,
no, that's awesome, Tosh. I love that. Yeah, absolutely. It's for the kids. But yeah, it is incredible how talented so many of these high school kids are.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I know we talk a lot about sports, but we have some really talented, musicians, singers, theater, you name it. There's a lot of talent in the Fox Valley with everything.
Yeah. You made me think when you were talking cheese curds, Tosh, we got to rank something. You know how Portnoy always ranks pizza? And your son, Ethan, I loved that when he did that. Had like best hot chocolate one year, right? Or malts. I can't remember. He did a couple of different things.
I think he did cheese curds one year. He did.
Yeah.
He did hot chocolate, and he might have done chocolate malts one time too.
I feel like we need to do that social content, on-air social content meeting.
There you go. Maybe we'll have to talk to Ethan to see if he remembers what he did. I remember a few of them, but not all of them. But there's a lot of cheese curds eaten that summer. Probably not good for the waistline or the heart or the arteries or anything else. But
we'll bike to each one. We'll bike to each one. It'll be beautiful.
You can bike. I'll drive. All right. Speaking of driving,
a note though for Taylor. And he can even keep it in since this is an official meeting, Tosh. This is how we do things in the Newsa-Cast. Mental note, right, to cheese curd ranking social content.
There you go.
Check. Lindsay, too. All right. Sorry.
Well, speaking of driving, we should probably drive this episode into the actual podcast.
Yeah, we should. Let's drive away, Tosh, to an old look at new. It's that time again, once again, for an old look at new, brought to you by Raleigh Winter and Associates, celebrating 55 years. Did you know that in 1962, an Appleton junior high school teacher with a strong work ethic started a residential realty company? His name, Raleigh Winter. 3 generations later, the Winters still hold true to a strong work ethic and an excellent reputation in the community. Today, Raleigh Winter and Associates remain actively involved in providing retail, office, and industrial users an affordable, well-designed working environment through the creation and/or acquisition of quality real estate in the Fox cities and even beyond new. So what do you say? Let's take an old look at new.
All right, Newsa-Cast listeners, it is time for the look at history that we like to call an old look at new, where we take a look at something around here in the state, try to give it some type of local feel. Joe, what's your old look at new this week?
Yeah, Tosh, I think it's very local. It's been butt-ass cold, right? It's been like negative 35 degrees in the morning. Freezes things up, right? Tremendous sturgeon spearing year, I think, just from ice, I think, for the most part. So it made me think, and this came across one of my news feeds or whatever, but Lake Superior, one of the, the greatest of all the Great Lakes, that really has got to be cold for a long period of time to freeze over.
absolutely.
And actually froze over. Well, it froze over a couple of times. One famously in 1973, and then it actually did a second time in 1996. But Lake Superior, it's only really completely frozen over just a couple of times, and the last quarter or half century or more, going on a century. Incredible. It gets close though. It gets to like 90% a lot of years, but only not many times since 1973.
But when we do get some cold weather, it's cool because you get those ice caves that form across the Apostles, so you can walk out and check some of that stuff out. But yeah, Lake Superior is a scary lake. It's amazing. It's so big. People don't realize how big Lake Superior is. So to say that Lake Superior totally freezes, that's pretty crazy to think about.
Oh, so much water. So much water. Yeah, you talk about the ice and all that. I remember Pictured Rocks one year, Tosh. I walked on top of trees, Tosh, and drugs were not involved. It was ice.
Oh, jeez. All right, moving on from that.
Sorry about that, Tosh. I couldn't resist, but you triggered a memory. But how about you, Tosh? We'll quickly transition to you. How about you? What are you going to take a look at?
I'm going back to February 20th, 1943. And on that date, the All-American Girls Baseball League formed. And we had a couple of teams here in Wisconsin, in Kenosha and Racine. And the note of importance to that, I mean, besides having a professional girls baseball, is a league of its own.
Yeah, Madonna.
Was and Tom Hanks, just talked about that.
Julia
movie.
Roberts.
Yeah, there is a lot of people in that, but a league of its own was based off of the All-American Girls Baseball League.
Yeah.
So
Racine, what were they? Racine, what? That's what the league of their own was, right? Their team was the Racine, whatever. Yeah,
I can't remember exactly. I don't remember the names. I didn't dig that deep into it. I was just happy to get that date.
Yeah, no, that's huge.
Yeah, so
no, I get that.
Got to talk about some women's baseball as well, and it's a good movie. If you haven't checked it out, go check it out because there's no crying in baseball.
Yeah,
Joe.
There is no crying in baseball. God, another joke. I've already dug myself deep in the last segment, but I got to bring this one up. Tom Hanks, one of the all-time great digs at an umpire, looks right at him and just basically said, "You look like a penis with your hat on." You're out of here.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well,
that'll get
wrap
you
up this. That'll get you tossed quicker than bringing up who our sponsor is.
Yeah. Who is? Yeah. Sorry about that, Raleigh Winter and Associates. But yeah, there are our sponsors. So help us, you know what? But yeah, thanks to Dub and all the folks there at Raleigh Winter and Associates for having us take an old look at new. No, I appreciate you coming on. I don't know, a few months ago, but we had Tom on this past fall, and we're waiting for it to upload. And he's like, my wife Nikki works with Appleton Park and Rec. It's like, holy cow, I've known your name forever. Yeah. I've had kids go through the program, and I've seen your name, and I never put two and two together.
We get that a lot when people actually figure it out. They're pretty shocked that we both kind of do the same thing in the same city for two different organizations.
It's kind of amazing because you both went to UW La Crosse, correct? Did you meet? Is that where you met?
Yeah, that's where we met. Mm-hmm.
Did you have? So I've kind of heard your story a little bit. I mean, you were literally born into Park and Rec. I mean, your whole entire life, right? You grew up in Park and Rec. I mean, it's kind of in your blood, isn't it?
Yeah. So I mean, I was always in Park and Rec programs ever since I was little because my mom was the administrative assistant to the Park and Rec director where I grew up. So I was always in the programs and always around, kind of hanging around their office and stuff. So ever since I was like 12, they're like, "Oh, do you want to volunteer to teach this preschool tumbling class?" And I'm like, "Yeah, for sure." And that turned into like, do you want to coach some of the youth sports leagues? Do you want to keep adult basketball? Do you want to work concessions for adult softball? Do you want to be a lifeguard? Do you want to coach softball? So it just, yeah, honestly, my whole life, there has not been a year since I've been 12 that I haven't worked in Parks and Recreation.
I mean, that's amazing. I mean, it speaks to the Well, it just speaks to the fabric of what Park and Rec is to a lot of communities. I feel like Appleton is pretty lucky to having grown up here. Park and Rec has always been a part of my life, and it's always been a really good part of my life. And I feel like without Park and Rec, you really don't have a community.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm very fortunate to, work in a community that really embraces recreation too. And, we have a supportive leadership team here at the city, and that's always nice as well. So,
Yeah, no doubt. UW La Crosse is a pretty amazing school when it comes to the people that have gone there, but the career and I mean, broadly call it the sports field, but I mean, it's everything from Park and Rec to the YMCA, like Tom, to, Matt Ten Hanken at the convention bureau, to numerous other people that are involved in sports. La Crosse is a pretty special place when it comes to that broad field, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I know at the time, and I don't know if this is still true, but La Crosse was the only accredited program in the state for recreation management. So, I mean, that was kind of funny enough, I didn't go to school in La Crosse for recreation management. I mean, it was probably a no-brainer what I should do, but, I decided to dabble in a couple other things. I thought, maybe athletic training, maybe be a teacher. So it took me a while to actually admit that should be my path. But yeah, I mean, even their sports management department, which is different than what I went to school for, has a huge program there, and tons of people, go there for those programs. But yeah, I mean, their recreation management program now, and speaking to some of the professors, when you talk to young students about wanting to get involved in municipal parks and recreation, it doesn't always sound super exciting. So they've been veering the last couple of years and going into a lot of like hospitality and tourism. So our goal is to get them to continue talking about municipal parks and recreation and nonprofit work and stuff like that relate to recreation. So we've been having some conversations, and things are, they're going well, and they pick our brains every now and then for some of us who've been around for a while, which is nice.
It has to be an exciting field, especially I feel like in Appleton. I mean, it always seems to be evolving. I mean, the recent phase, and it's incredible, seems to be pickleball, for instance. You always feel, I feel like you always have to be on your feet. You never know what's around the corner, what the next craze is, but you guys, your department always seems to be on top of it.
Yeah, I mean, we do spend a lot of time. I spend time each year with my staff, just talking through our strategic plan. What are some areas that we want to focus on? We do our whole SWOT analysis where we talk about the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, and kind of outline where we want our direction to be for the next couple of years. So that's helpful, and that helps drive a lot of our goals that we set for ourselves professionally. But yeah, I mean, some things just fall in your lap too. The pickleball thing, I don't know that we knew it was popular kind of down south, but around here it's really taken off. And not only for, the older population, but a lot of kids love playing. I mean, we look at the Tallulah pickleball courts, and there's nights that from 8 to 11 at night, it's all high schoolers and middle schoolers that are out there. So they're kind of finding it to be something new and enjoyable for them as well, which is great. I mean, it's a great thing. We're fortunate to have had, Mary Beth Nienhouse sponsoring some of our larger complexes at Tallulah and at Lundgaard Park. So she has a passion for helping and for recreation as well, which is amazing.
How does that process work for you guys? How do you, I guess, how do you know what the next up and coming sport is? And then how do you know when to actually start implementing it? Like you said, pickleball was popular down south. We maybe never heard of it here. Now it's completely popular. Mm-hmm. How do you gauge that? How do you invest funds into the community with the hopes that it's going to take off like pickleball?
I mean, sometimes we're on the cutting edge of what's coming up, and sometimes, we all are pretty resourceful in being a part of different groups and organizations, whether they're within the state or nationally, that we're a part of, and going to trainings or conferences, or even being a part of webinars where people are having roundtable discussions about things that are coming up and discussing different trends. So, that's a big part of what I do, is kind of just like the program development and management, and thinking of different ways that we can, my staff has brainstorming sessions like, okay, what are we missing? what's coming up? What have you heard about? And just being a part of some of those groups helps us navigate some of those conversations. So yeah, I mean, I guess it would just be just being involved in some of those groups and meeting with businesses and organizations. I mean, it's amazing the resources that we have here in Appleton and the people that want to be involved and share their talents. And they might say, you know, I work for this institution, this bank, and I want to do some classes on, you know, financial well-being for high school students. And it's like, oh, so some things do just present themselves to you just from networking and having people around the city and getting involved like that. So I would say all different areas is how we find our what's like, coming next.
Sure. Well, I feel like this area is kind of special when it comes to the people. I had a conversation with Jennifer Stefani maybe a year ago, and she called it Houdini magic. And I've kind of bought into that a little bit. I feel like there is a little bit of that in a lot of different areas in the Fox cities for sure. And Park and Rec definitely being the forefront of that. Mm-hmm. I like all the programs. I mean, I feel like you touch every single citizen, whether you're learning to play baseball. Heck, I learned to play T-League and T-ball in Appleton Park and Rec. And then you move on from there and you develop your love of sports. My daughter, who doesn't know a baseball from a watermelon, absolutely loved your park program and spent many summers through there. And that's an absolutely fantastic. She still has friends from 6-7 years ago when she went through that program. That to me is an incredible program, and it's not necessarily sports based.
Right. Yeah, that honestly, like our playground program holds a special place in my heart, because when I first started here and did more of the programming side of things, that was one of the programs that was under my direction. And just learning about the rich history of that program here in Appleton, and you know, Coach Witzke back in 1942 deciding he's going to start this program, and the stories that people have. And, you know, people will reach out to us and say, yeah, I met my husband. He was a park leader and I was a park leader. And it's unique in the fact that it is highly subsidized by the city, because we do feel that these kids need somewhere to go, a safe space in the summer where they can be active. We get them away from the phones and computers or video games and stuff like that. They're meeting new friends. So there's the social aspect of it. And yeah, I mean, there's some really humbling stories that go along with just the connections that the leaders have made with these, what we call parkies. So yeah, that probably will always be one of my favorite programs that we do.
I'll bet. Have you seen leaders, high school kids, college kids that work the program? Have they turned into another Niki Wendt, where they go in and that becomes their career?
It is funny that you say that. We recently had a coordinator. She was a playground leader. Well, she actually grew up in the playground program, became a playground leader, did a great job for us, became a playground coordinator for us, just working in the summers, helping us coordinate that program, and graduated with a degree in communications, and then looking for a job. And I said to him, hey, this job's opening in Kakana for a rec person. And she's like, God, I really love what you guys do. And so now she is in the rec world as well. So we do see people kind of realize, the impact that they're having and all the positive outcomes that we get to see. And they want to be a part of that, right? They're passionate about it, same as us. And so we have seen that a few times, yes, which is amazing.
Oh, it really is. It makes life fun, right? When you're passionate about something, it's not even like you're working.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely. Then it's more of a career, not so much a job, right?
Right. Yeah. We all strive to get to that point for sure.
Yes.
So the Appleton Park and Rec department, I mean, it's a big department, and it's, I guess, can you kind of walk us through a little bit? What is the department? I know it's multifaceted. There's it's not a lot of people, I don't think, work in the department. I feel like there's a few of you doing a whole lot of work.
Yeah. So we're unique in that we have 4 divisions within our Parks and Recreation department. So there's the Recreation division. We have a Parks division. We have the golf course division. So we operate Reed Golf Course in the city. So we have a golf course manager. And then we also have a facilities division. So our department is the one that takes care and maintains all of the facilities in the city. So City Hall, the new library project, police departments, fire departments, our building out here, public works. So we have a lot of technicians on our staff too that people probably don't know. We have plumbers and electricians and stuff all fall under our department. So that facilities piece is a little bit unique, but it works out well for us. So yeah, that's kind of our structure, is that we have those 4 divisions. So there's 4 managers that are kind of oversee those different areas. And then we obviously have a director and a deputy director as well. So
right. One of the things I've loved and seen develop, I guess, over my lifetime is the trail system. As a biker, I haven't put gas in my car in 2 years, so I definitely use the bike system.
Okay, good for you.
Yeah, shocking, I know, but it speaks to, I mean, I love the trail system through not only Appleton, the whole Fox Cities, but Appleton's a huge part of that. And I mean, kudos to thinking of the bikers, but I mean, I applaud you for just a fantastic trail system that seems to grow every single year.
Yeah, I know I'm not directly involved in the development of the trails, but with our staff, I mean, they're always meeting with the different communities and figuring out ways to provide connections, or working with even different businesses to acquire certain land that we can kind of make some connections here and there. So yeah, it is impressive. If you look at the whole Fox Cities trail system is pretty expansive.
Yeah, it really is. It definitely is. Well, getting back more into your field, what are the numbers of participants, city residents, and even beyond? And I'm sure it varies, because, I mean, we've all received, being a letter carrier, I remember hauling the catalog. I don't know if you print that anymore, but you used to once or twice a year, you'd have the magazine or catalog with every program that Park and Rec offered. And I mean, it was thick. It was like an inch thick. I felt like it was a big magazine. Yep. You have so many programs. I guess, how many people are participating in your programs?
Well, it depends how you measure, right? So we would say, like, directly involved or touching any of our programs or facilities, it's over 100,000 people that we get. But that includes, you know, like the people that attend the pools and things like that as well. So it just depends what part you're trying to do. We do, I mean, so going back to our activity guide, we still produce 2 a year. So we have a spring and summer guide and then a fall winter guide. So our spring summer guide will be put on our website February 17th. So that's coming out. We do not print them anymore. That cost of that got somewhat prohibited.
I believe it.
The cost of paper and the cost to mail them, because we were mailing over 38,000, which it got to be a lot. So yeah, we're getting with the technology, and we're only doing it online. So this will only be, I mean, this is our only our second year that we're doing that. So we're still heavily trying to market that the information's out. Last year was our first year. We did notice some decline in some of our programs that we probably attribute to us not mailing it. So, you know, we think of when someone receives that book and they want to sign their child up for swim lesson. Well, in the process of that, there's all this cross promotion that's going on that they're looking for. So we're missing some of that, but, you know, we're doing our best. We have a great team here who comes up with some creative marketing things and different, you know, target markets that we try to do fun things with. So.
And you definitely do. I mean, and you have a little bit for everybody. I mean, I think maybe a lot of the focus, you're right, is on swim lessons and tea league and dance and things like that. But you have activities for, you know, old guys like me, where you can take a bus trip somewhere. And you know, we talked about pickleball, but you really do touch just about every single age.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of the exciting part for what we get to do, right? Is that we do touch so many ages, and we're leaving, you know, I talk to my team all the time about what do we want our legacy to be. And part of that is just crossing the different generations and even coming up with ideas for how do we mix the generations so that the little ones get to do something with the older adults, because it's just good. It's good to do. So, I mean, we have programs for as young as, you know, kids under 1 year old and all the way up to, I mean, however old you are and you want to come on our bus trips, or you want to, I mean, we had a lady who was 92 years old who was taking our adult dance class still. So, I mean, I mean, it's endless. If you're willing, we have all sorts of things.
When I hit 92, I plan to be in your dance class for sure.
Hey, we will take you. I mean, and that's the nice part about the parks too, right? There's so many studies showing the health benefits of parks and people being able to get out and enjoy sunlight and fresh air and just all the benefits that parks have in a community. And like you said, we have a lot. So we're very fortunate to be able to provide that for our community.
Yeah, no doubt. It just dawned on me, one of the creative things I love that you did was just the ice rink at Pierce Park, that you put it inside the pavilion. I don't know if it's there this year, but you've done it in years past.
Yeah, it is. That was the brainchild of one of our parks crew members. Just said, hey, I see that they sell these liners. Could we do something? It might, because the sun doesn't hit it. When the sun reaches a certain point of the year, it's so hard to keep those rinks. And, we get a lot of flack because we don't have the underground chillers, and nobody understands why Nina's rink and Green Bay's rink have been up and running for months and ours is not ready.
Yeah.
So we have to explain that over and over again. But our staff they come in the middle of the night sometimes to flood those rinks, or they'll be there at like 2, 3 in the morning, just early doing flooding. So it's a kudos to them and their dedication. They flex their hours so that they can come in when it's super cold and try to get those rinks ready. But yeah, the Pierce one is nice because the sun doesn't really hit it. So it won't melt as quickly.
Sure. Yeah, I guess I never thought about that. The ice making, you're right. In the middle of the night, you have to flood those. You can't do it at 3 in the afternoon.
Yeah. Yep. Depending how warm it is. And we haven't, we had a little cold stretch, but last year, I think we were open a total of 6 days at the rinks. So that's a lot of time and effort for
right.
Only 6 days.
Well, I grew up pretty close to Erving Park, so that was always kind of my park. And I've gosh, this is probably the 3rd iteration of the pool that I've lived through. But what a fantastic park! I mean, it's always been a great park, but it's really cool here. I think it was just when it was redone just a few years ago. The pool is brand new, but literally the whole entire park is brand new. I feel like the playground, the pavilion, everything.
Yeah, that was 2017 that we did that project. And yeah, that park is so busy in the summer. we have tennis lessons going on and sports camps. And, with the pool, that pool is operating like 5 in the morning. You might have swim teams that are out there doing early morning stuff all the way through 8 at night with open swim. So yeah, there's a lot of people coming in and out of those parks. And then we have a playground program that runs there at that site too, and all the rentals on the pavilion on the weekends. So
how is the rentals of the pavilion through you have a lot of great parks, and it makes for a lot of great settings. So is that pretty popular? Do people rent those out, have parties, reunions? I'll bet.
Yep. Especially, our community parks, like our 4 main community parks, our Appleton Memorial Park, Pierce, and Tallulah. So they have, maybe some of the larger facilities or areas that people are interested in. Those ones book up pretty quickly.
How quick? When does that? You and I are recording this early February. So if somebody's looking for a summer family reunion, how soon do you have to book one of those pavilions?
Now.
Okay, that's kind of what I thought. Yesterday.
Yeah, so they can book a year in advance. So a lot of things, for a graduation party, we're getting people stopping in the office looking for stuff. And we're like, oh, I'm sorry, there's nothing available for that weekend. Because, yeah, they get pretty popular.
Oh, absolutely. It made me think, too, you mentioned Tallulah and another great, I think, amenity, and I believe it's Park and Rec, your kayak launches, the access to the river. That's really, that's awesome to see as well. That's a great trail, too, from the Courtyard Hotel winding up to Tallulah.
Yeah, that was a great addition, that kayak. They have those kayak lockers there. So if you've never done it and you don't have the equipment, you can just go and rent your kayak right there, and you have so much time to put it back. So that's been kind of a cool thing for people to try it out.
Yeah, I'll bet. It's great to see that that's popular. When I was in my 20s, my Memorial Park was packed every single night with softball, and that was seemed to be the sport to play. How it's been a while since I've been over there. How is that a thing anymore? Your adult softball, it's probably not what it once was in the 90s, but what is the state of adult softball these days?
Yeah. So we, let's see. So I've been with the city for 17 years. We had adult softball was cut from our budget years ago. So we kind of put out a proposal. Does anyone want to run it? Currently, we're working with a group called Fox Valley Athletics. We kind of have a memorandum of understanding with them, a little contract that they do the operations out there. We provide the facilities. And I mean, he's been having a ton of teams out there. So now that we've transitioned into, years ago, when I first started here, I did the t-ball, baseball, softball program as well. And everything was during the day. So all of our programs were out there during the day. All the kids played during the day. The adults played at night. Well, being a mom of 3, I'm like, man, who can bring their kids here if you have 2 working parents? This isn't really great for a lot of people. So we shifted and started kind of like dabbling with doing some evening programs. And now they're all run in the evening. Nice. So we have kind of transitioned. We have youth nights out there Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We run youth leagues. So t-ball, baseball, softball is run out there. And then the adults are on some other nights. So they combine and do some on, I think, Tuesday. They do Thursday. They have Sunday is a big night for them. They have all 7 diamonds. So yeah. And then we have the Miracle League out there. So they're out there during the week too with their program. So yeah. It's pretty hopping every weeknight and even on weekends, because we have a lot of tournaments that rent the space here. So there's a lot going on.
Yeah, definitely. You're right. There's great facilities. That Appleton, I feel like, has always been lucky. They've always had great baseball facilities in general, but baseball for sure. And I'm always amused by this because there's a huge tree of groundskeepers in the baseball world that have came from Bud Kinky, who was early on with Park and Rec, and he used to take care of the ball fields. And a lot of people under him kind of went on and had big league careers running major league stadiums or minor league complexes, and they all started in Appleton. And it's I don't know how many people really know that, but it's to me it seems kind of unique and kind of cool.
Yeah, I did not know that myself.
Yeah, they've had Barney Lopez has been with the California Angels for 20 plus years. He's been maybe even 30. Yeah, there's Cleveland Indians. There's a couple of big league groundskeepers that they're Appleton boys.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah,
we're famous.
We are for something more than Harry Houdini, I guess.
Yeah, that's right.
You mentioned you have 3 kids. Are they involved in Park and Rec? Do they play sports? What's their life like in Appleton?
Well, it is funny with, as you mentioned, my husband working for the YMCA and me working here. When you have kids, you're kind of like, well, we have all these options that we know about. So it's hard to, with the first 2. So we have a 17-year-old and a 15-year-old. And then our youngest is 7. So we had him a little bit later. But the first 2 were in, everything YMCA and Park and Rec, like sports leagues they did. We had music classes at the Y, swimming lessons. So we did kind of a mix of both. But yeah, all 3 of them have been involved in different programs. My daughter still does dance through Unity Dance and Acrobatics, which is our dance program that we have. So she still does that. My son, he still plays sports, but we're over at Kaukauna High School, so he's a freshman there now, so he's playing. And yeah, my little one is playing basketball at the Y, so
nice.
They're all still involved.
You and Tom have to have interesting conversations, just having a lot of the same programs, serving a lot of the same people. It really is unique.
It's nice, especially when your kids want to get into youth sports, and we talk about this all the time. So we both have a passion for youth sports, and we kind of are geeky about it, that we do research and we get into things like that. But it has helped, as parents, we just have a different perspective of what that experience should be. So, we see all these things of people, going and trying to get private lessons for this and doing things here and there. And it's not for everyone. We get that. We get, Park and Rec in the YMCA is not for everyone. It's what works for your child. And, we respect that those different groups, have a place here as well. So I don't discount any of that. It's just when it came to us having our own kids and what we felt we wanted to do, it was nice to have some alignment that way.
Hey, Newsa-Cast listeners, help us grow by subscribing wherever you get your pods or sharing the Newsa-Cast. Follow us on Facebook, X, TikTok, or Instagram. Northeastern Wisconsin Sports Advancement is a 501c3 organization. Our mission is to raise money, provide support, and bring greater awareness for youth sports organizations in Northeast Wisconsin. We do this primarily through the Red Smith Sports Award Banquet and the Newsa-Cast. Each year, we give back to the community through 3 initiatives: the Every Kid Plays Grant, the Gives Back Initiative, and scholarships to student athletes. The great thing with both your program, the YMCA, I mean, you expose kids to sports. I mean, let's face it, none of us are going to be big league players. I mean, we'd be lucky to play in college, but we can all develop the love of sports and right. all the values and lessons that come with that. And that's ultimately what you guys provide. And you also give parents an opportunity to let their kids try multiple sports and maybe see what sticks.
Yeah. And really for us in Park and Rec, that's where we saw, when I sat down with my staff and we did a big strategic planning that was just focused on our youth sports and kind of said, where do we want to go with this? What does the community need? And thinking about all the opportunities that were out there and how are we going to try to, to tell people, hey, this is what we're about. So coming up with some of like the core values of just like, hey, we're about skill development, kids playing with their friends, having that family balance. When you have multiple kids and things, it's nice for them to say, well, I'm going to do Park and Rec because I know we're going to have a once a week practice and then they have a game once a week. Like that's a lot more manageable than multiple right. practices and multiple games and stuff. So, I mean, trying to, get back to some of the grassroots, like this is what sports and what do kids want? And I see it when they're young, when they're 5, and I see it in my older 2, even now at 15 and 17. They just want to be with their friends and they want to have fun.
Right.
So
right.
It's no different what age you are. It resonates the same with them. I mean, I see that a lot with some high school sports now as our kids are getting older and have friends and stuff, that even talking to some of my staff here that have kids in high school, we're seeing this trend where like some kids are dropping out of high school sports and doing some other fun things like the CYO, where maybe there's not as much pressure. Or, some of them are like, I don't want to do baseball anymore. I'm just going to do golf because it's with my friends and we're just going to go hang out and stuff like that. So, I mean, I feel like these kids start so young that by the time they get to high school, a lot of them are just done. I mean, the pressure's been there. They're just kind of like, okay. So we're seeing a trend now where some high school kids, I mean, that's what all these parents think that's the goal, right? We're going to have you
right.
play at a young age. We're going to get you involved in all these private lessons and spend all this money. And by the time they get to high school, some of them, not all of them, obviously, but they're just like, yeah, this isn't for me anymore.
You're 100% right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're high. I mean, I had both of my boys have gone through quote travel sports and in soccer and lacrosse and things like that. And you're right. At the end of the day, they want to hang out with their friends and have fun, right? They want to, the CYO. I have several friends that they just wanted to spend their senior year playing with their buddies. And it's refreshing. And I'm actually kind of glad you said that you're seeing the trend go that way. I mean, I certainly have a lot of friends in the travel sports world and I respect the work that they do, but I'm kind of refreshed to see the trend moving, like you said, that it's back to kind of that community, kind of just the enjoyment for fun, really.
Well, and it's funny you think about when I first started here, and I don't know that all the schools did it, but a lot of them still had intramural programs. I mean, right. That was a thing back in the day that the high schools would say like, yeah, if you're not going to make the team here or do whatever, we'll still have an intramural league. So if you want to play, you can play. But I mean, now they can't do that because of lack of facility space. And that's being used by all these other groups out there. So it will be interesting to see if that becomes kind of a trend again, like the more intramural. Right. And we've even talked about that internally, right? That's a trend that we're seeing. Is this something that might take off in some other sports? Like, my son plays CYO, loves it, plays with his friends, and I see how much they're enjoying it. And it's like, I sit there like, this is interesting. What else could we do with this?
Right. So that's basically how it works for you, right? You're seeing that trend now. Maybe we have more intramural basketball leagues or something for the 20-year-olds or something
whether
like that.
It's basketball, whether it's like, hey, we'll do some modified softball for some high schoolers, or we have a teen core program where we try to still keep teens involved. That might be something that we see grow depending on how we continue to market and brand that program. It might catch on. I don't know. Yeah.
Boy, you never know. It sounds like it might.
Yeah.
We might be onto something, Nikki. Who knows?
We'll see. Yeah. Youth sports for us is such a big part of what we do. We have over 2,500 kids in our youth sports leagues between the 4 leagues that we run. And we've just seen a lot of success over the last 10 years of people really just parents wanting to just get back to, like I said, that grassroots, like just, hey, let's just go play, have fun. We don't have to pay all this money for you to do it. Just go be with your friends. So, it seems like it's kind of trending back towards the park and rec stuff. We've made a lot of changes, don't get me wrong, to how we approach things and, the different values that we have and training our coaches. We have over 400 volunteer coaches every year. That's a lot to manage. So how we support them, the resources we give them, trying to make sure that every coach feels like, okay, they have a practice plan for each week. Because a lot of them come into it out of the goodness of their heart. They may have never played the sport before. And we always tell them, that's okay. As long as you can manage kids, we can give you the rest of it, right? We can give you some of the basics so that all the kids are learning the same things each week, which provides a little bit more consistency when it actually comes to game time.
I always found as my kids were going through like baseball, for instance, you're right. A couple of the coaches they had didn't have a lot of experience, but you always found that parents stepped up, and there always ended up being a group, 3-4 parents that went through your teaching program, but kind of worked together. And I felt like every team always had a core group of parents that had the kids' best interests in mind and taught them a thing or two.
We do have a lot. There's a lot of parents that are hesitant to step up because it's a big role to play and, to communicate with the families. And that's why we tell them, hey, let's just have a chat. I'm going to tell you everything that we're going to do to help support you. And then they're like, oh, you're going to give me the lesson plans for practices, and oh, you do the schedules and you do all this stuff and I don't have to worry about all this. So, and then they're kind of more inclined to say, okay, I think I can manage this. And they have a great time because they're enjoying it. There's no pressure. It's just like, hey, do this. We do trainings for them, and we offer for those that don't have as much experience. We'll do some on-site training of different things. Like a lot of coaches come in, let's say dads and or moms, and they don't know how to fast pitch, like for softball. They're like, I don't know the mechanics of that. So we've even brought in high school students from around the area. Like, can you do a clinic for us? And
sure.
So it's cool to reach out to different people and have them get involved too. And I know that the coaches appreciate it.
No doubt. Appleton's unique, I think, in a way where the city has a golf course, which is, it's got to be great from a park and rec standpoint. How do you have a lot of programs for the golfers, for the youth golfers to learn? That sport, it really seems to be taking off again since COVID, and I feel like it's still on that upward track. Do you make pretty good use of the course?
Yeah, Reed is busy and it is awesome. We are seeing a trend with the youth coming out, and particularly middle schoolers and high schoolers. So I always have the comment, like, where are they getting the money to do this? But somehow they're coming and golfing, but they're coming often. So we do youth leagues. They do youth instruction over at Reed. It's all run through the course. Brian, who's our clubhouse manager over there, he does a great job with the youth out there. But yeah, we have seen an upward. Golf's been very busy since COVID. We had, I think it was over 48,000 rounds this last year in 2024, which is the highest we've ever had. And our golf course superintendent, Jeff, and Brian, our clubhouse, they do a great job over there. So, it's funny. We're always like, hey, what can we do for marketing for you? They're like, nothing. We don't need anyone else coming here. It's so busy. So, but yeah, and they partner, with some of the colleges, and they do golf teams out there. And We've done cross country meets out there. They do a lot of outings. So it's busy. But yeah, we are seeing a trend with the youth kind of getting more involved in golf, which is really cool.
You know, it definitely is. I mean, I grew up on that course. I used to ride my bike with my golf clubs on my back and play that course. So yeah, that has a special place in my heart.
That's great.
Similar to golf, I mean, disc golf is another one too. I take full advantage of the courses in the city at Tallulah and at Pierce and that's another sport too that seemingly just came out of the blue.
Yeah. We actually, funny enough, we tried to do like a family disc golf clinic, like see if we can teach families to try to create a little bit more interest. Because I think if people knew a little bit more of the rules or, you know, things like that, they might get interested. But we didn't have a big turnout for that one. So I feel like it's kind of still a little bit of a niche right now, but we keep trying to sprinkle in things here and there to see if we can continue to just promote that or just, you know, promote the courses that we have because the staff work hard to make those look so nice. And yeah, they're great. It's just, we want to get more of, again, the families out there and doing
definitely.
It. So,
I mean, that's a great family sport. You literally just have to throw a Frisbee and some can do it better than others, but,
go ahead. We partnered last year with Play It Again Sports because, again, that's one of those programs where we can say, go and use disc golf. But if you don't have the equipment and you don't really want to buy it, so we partnered with them and they allowed people to come in and check out some equipment. We called it Appleton Active Adventures. And we did that with a couple of our sports that they could come and check out some equipment like pickleball equipment so that they could try it. And disc golf was one of them. So they could come and check out the equipment and be able to try it, which was cool. So that was a fun collaboration for us.
Oh, absolutely. That's what a tremendous idea.
Yeah.
That's really the key to a lot of these sports is just letting the kids or adults, whoever, just try it. And then a lot of times you're hooked after a time or two.
Right. I mean, we were excited a few years ago. I think it's been 3 years now that Leadership Fox Cities team, someone chose us to do their project and they worked to fundraise to get a bunch of ice skates for us to have down at Jones. So now we can have skate rental because, again, we were seeing, you know, Jones is popular for the hockey. Like there's a lot of people that play hockey down there. But we wanted to see a lot of families coming out. Like during the day, we get a lot of families, but some of them were like, well, I don't know, you know, if my kids will like it and I don't want to go buy the skates. So yeah, that's been fun this year to have a little bit more time because the last 2 years, we really haven't had any use of that rink hardly at all. So it is kind of nice now that we can have the skate rental down there.
Yeah, that is really cool. One of the other things too, I think is unique and I've always loved, haven't done it in the last couple of summers and need to get back into it, but it's your movie on the hill. Great use of the amphitheater, of the park and what a fantastic idea. I love that idea. And what a great setting. And for folks that haven't gone, go to Appleton Memorial Park on a summer night and watch a movie. There's no better place.
Yeah, it really is. And, you know, it's fun for us to be by the pond because I don't know if a lot of people know this unless you come, but we do like a canoe and kayak program kind of prior to the movie from 6 to 8 where people can come and we have the life jackets, we have everything because around here, there's not a lot of bodies of water for them to get out on unless they're going to brave the river. So it's fun for them to come and get the kids and take a kayak out and paddle around and just do stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, those movies they're a lot of fun and it's just a cool atmosphere for families. I mean, sometimes it gets hard for us in the summer because they have to start so late. I mean, the movies sometimes don't start till 9 o'clock at night, which is hard for people with littles, but we see all the time families coming and you might have one kid that fell asleep and they're still there and the parents are just watching it themselves. And we actually transitioned last year and did an adult movie down at Jones Park called Flicks and Sips. So we partnered with like the Hop Yard and some food trucks and we did just an outdoor movie that we showed there. We showed The Great Outdoors.
Yeah, nice.
So this year we're doing 2 of them. I think it is The Goonies and Field of Dreams, maybe.
Yeah. So that's going to be at Jones Park?
Yeah. So there's 2 of them. I can tell you because I have my draft of the summer guide right in front of me. Yeah, so those are coming up, which will be awesome. So they are, just to confirm, Yeah. So Field of Dreams is Friday, July 11th, and then Goonies will be Saturday, September 13th.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Nice.
And that was kind of a fun new thing. Because again, sometimes we look and we're like, well, what groups are we not serving? And we've been trying to get a little bit more into some of the adult programming. And adults nowadays, I mean, they just want to do the fun social things. I mean, they want to travel. They, when you think of programming for adults, back when I was in college, they were telling us to plan bingo nights and bridge for cards. And it's like,
Sure.
that's not what they want to, that's not what adults want to do. So yeah, it's been kind of nice for us to explore some of that stuff. We do that. We do our mom prom event, which is coming up. So that's for ladies 21 and over. So that's a fundraiser for our fee waiver scholarship program. So we kind of implemented that a couple of years ago. So we're dabbling a little bit more in some of the adult special events, which has been fun and has been well received.
Oh, I'll bet. I'm definitely going to check out the movies at Jones Park. Is it difficult? What is the process to get like the Goonies? I mean, are there rights involved? Is it?
Oh, yeah.
How do you? Is it difficult to pick out the movie and then have rights to show that movie?
There's a couple companies that license the movies. So usually we'll just send out like a request for quotation and just say, hey, here's what we're looking to do. Do you have the movie? And then how much is it? I mean, generally they're around, they can be between $500 to $700 to license a movie.
Wow. Okay. I had no idea. Interesting.
Yep. So to be able to show it like that, yeah, we do have to pay.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to adapt? I mean, the music and Appleton in the city. I mean, that's another thing that's really grown. Is that anything that you're going to team up with, or is that kind of stay out of that lane?
I mean, I feel like Appleton does such a great job with that already. I mean, we've had internal conversations of, some other parks and recreations do like traveling beer gardens, and then they might do like a 1 or 2 man band or something like that. I do think something like that would be fun. We're not quite there yet. There's some things we'd have to put in place to make that happen. But yeah, we're talking about it. But yeah, Appleton does such a great job with music. I mean, we support the Appleton City Band that plays at Pierce Park on Tuesday nights. So we're the ones that kind of put that on and help them. And then obviously ADI does a great job with their concert series, and Mile of Music is awesome. So yeah, there's a lot of music stuff
there really is. You bring up on Tuesday nights at Pierce, I think it's Tuesday nights when the city band plays. That's a tremendous atmosphere as well. I mean, that's a great park with big trees, but you can hear the band playing for blocks away, and there's nothing like a city band and those instruments.
Yeah, that's a great tradition that we have here in Appleton. It's really cool to see. I mean, there's hundreds of people that come out to watch those on Tuesday nights still. There's just, they draw a great crowd and they do a great job.
I've even played disc golf and listen to the city band all in the same night.
Yep, you could do that.
Appleton is amazing that way, for sure. What so we're sitting in February. Is there anything that people need to keep in mind as they're planning out their year? Is it just a matter of going to the website and just like you used to do with the catalog, just scrolling through the different programs and just looking at deadlines?
I mean, so right now the big things will be that our guide will be launched February 17th. So people will have a couple weeks to look through that prior to registration. So registration for our spring and summer programs will open March 8th. For residents, and then it'll be March 19th for non-residents. So those are kind of the big things that people have to. I know a lot of other groups are opening up their summer camps and things like that. So we've been getting a lot of questions about, okay, well, when can we register for Park and Rec? So those are probably the big dates that'll be coming up.
And the summer program is just drop in, right? I mean, that's nothing that you sign up for it, if I recall, but it's kind of a drop in, right? Kids can come and go as they wish for the summer program.
Yeah, for the playground program. Yeah, it is unique. It's Monday through Thursday, and it's from 9 to noon and then 1 to 4. So they do have off that hour in the middle of the day. It's a good reset for the parkies and for the leaders. But yeah, it's drop-in. So it's $25 for the whole summer.
Right,
you can come all summer, June through, mid-August. And they do sports and crafts and special events and large group games. And I mean, it is an amazing value. Sometimes we think, that program used to be free, and then we kind of stopped doing camp APRD. He had to make up some revenue, so he started charging a fee. And I do think sometimes people don't understand the full value of that program, and they're going to attribute the cost with the quality.
Right.
So I highly encourage everyone, yes, look into it. It's amazing. It's run no different than when people used to pay like $150 a week for our camp program. It's exactly the same thing. It's just $25 for the whole summer. But yeah, so kids can come and go. And we do get that a lot, that some will do summer school in the morning, and then they'll just come in the afternoons in the beginning of summer. And then towards the end of summer, they're coming all day. Or, you know, some people use it for just 1 week out of the summer if they need it. So yeah, we're pretty flexible. No,
that's good to hear. And it, you know, like I mentioned before, having been a father of a daughter that went through that program.
Yep.
I mean, I can speak to that that is one of my all-time favorite programs that you have. And in addition to everything you have, but Amelia really, really loved that. And like I said, still has friends from that time, which was several years ago now.
Yep, we hear a lot of those stories. I know one of my staff just put something out on, there's a Facebook page, I think it's You Know You're From Appleton and she posted something about the playground program and just said, yeah, we're looking for stories. So part of our marketing plan this year is just sharing the rich history of the playground program. So people were posting like photos and making comments like, I used to work in that program. And every now and then we'll have people that stop in and then they just want to talk about their experience with the program. So we know there's a story to tell there. So we're trying to collect some information to try to really portray what that has been. I mean, since 1942, that's as far back as we can tell that the program started. Which is a long time. And there's a lot of rich history with that. So,
boy, I mean, there was a war going on at that time. That's incredible.
It is crazy.
It really is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You got to love Appleton. How did you and Tom actually, was it luck that you ended up in Appleton, or what was the actual path to Appleton?
So we went to school for the same thing. So we had a lot of classes together. One semester we had a lot of classes together, and in one of our classes we were talking and I said, yeah, I got to go. I have to coach basketball tonight for the Park and Rec. And he goes, oh, I'm coaching basketball for the Park and Rec. And it just happened that we got put at the same school, the two of us. So we had like 4 classes together and we were coaching together like Monday through Thursday and stuff. So we said we just kind of had to like each other.
Yeah,
we spent so much time. But yeah, after we graduated, part of the requirement in lacrosse is we had to do an internship. So we had to do a summer internship. He ended up getting his at the Y, where he is right now. So he's been there for, 25 years. It'll be in May. I did mine for the village of Ashwaubenon. So I worked there. And then after my summer internship, I got hired and I worked for the village of Howard for 7 years up by Green Bay.
Sure.
So I worked there. And then eventually, we knew we were kind of living more in the Green Bay area and decided, we kind of want to be down by the Fox cities to raise kids and stuff like that. So when this job opened up, I jumped on it and here we are.
Yeah. 17 years later. It's amazing.
I know. It is crazy. It's crazy that we both, went to school for the same thing. We do similar jobs in the same city. And I remember when our kids were younger, parents would be talking. They're like, what are you doing with your kids for summer? What are you doing with your kids? And some of our friends would be like, we're just leaving them with the Wendts all summer. Like between the Y and Park and Rec, they're just going to be with the Wendts.
Literally, everybody's growing up years, just leave them with the Wendts.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, it was a compliment. It was great.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Anything else that we should be excited for with Appleton Park coming up that you can see in the down the road here in the next couple of years?
Yeah, I mean, we've got a lot of stuff. We're going to be finishing, Lungard Park. We're going to be getting a pavilion there this summer, so that will be exciting. Probably going to have a playground program there. I know there's been a lot of requests. It's an awesome location, so that will be a playground program there. I mean, working on a lot of park projects that will be coming up. We've got some stuff planned out here for Appleton Memorial Park to get a new pavilion. Eventually, we'll be redoing the building in between the ball diamonds out here at Appleton Memorial Park too. So
sure.
I know there's plans for probably more trail development. And yeah, I mean, programming wise, programs are crazy. I mean, when I think of just our dance program has over 600 kids. We talked about youth sports having over 2,500 kids. Even our sports camps have really taken off. I mean, last summer we had over 1,000 kids between our sports camps that participated, and just a lot of changes we've been making to some of our aquatics operations to try to accommodate different people, like doing a tot swim on Friday mornings that are for the real small kids. Because when that pool, when the pools get busy, it's hard to have real little kids there. So
Right.
brought back some aquatics fitness classes, different things like that. So yeah, we're always, I mean, like I said, we're always kind of trying to evaluate some of the trends, look at some of our programs, see if they're still meeting the needs of the community. If not, I mean, we like to transition things in and out. So it's fun. I mean, no day is the same in Park and Rec, which is exciting.
I'll bet. Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes the job much easier.
Yeah.
We didn't even mention USA sports facilities out there. I mean, on Saturdays in the fall, you have hundreds of soccer players too playing out there.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, soccer is our largest youth sport that we run. We are just approaching 1,000 players that play soccer out there. So when you think about 1,000 players and parents and aunts and uncles and grandparents, I mean, everybody comes to watch fall soccer. So I mean, it's just thousands of people out there on a Saturday morning. I was telling my recreation supervisor, Jeff, who, funny enough, used to work for my husband at the Y, but he oversees some of our youth sports leagues. I said, we really need to get some drone footage out there at that complex because it is amazing, like all the people and everything that goes on out there. So,
that would be cool. Definitely. Definitely. Yeah, we actually had Jeff. Jeff was on this podcast, but it was probably a good year and a half ago now. But
awesome.
Yeah, we talked about the programs and drone footage, no doubt about it. That'd be cool as can be.
I know. I think that about a lot of our programs would be cool, even out at baseball on a Monday night when all the diamonds are full, just to get some perspective of everything going on. And
definitely. Maybe that can be a new program, drone pilot, some of the footage that you get, isn't it? It's incredible.
There's a couple people in the city that have access to, we do have some drones through the city. I just have to talk them into coming out on a Saturday to do it for us.
I feel like they'd be excited. That'd be a fun job, a drone pilot.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, Nikki, this has been a pleasure. I know I usually don't like to keep people longer than an hour because we all have lives, but I definitely wanted to touch base with you and like I said, Park and Rec, Appleton especially, is near and dear to my heart. I went through it, my kids went through it, and wanted to just get to know you and just kind of understand it a little bit more from your perspective.
Yeah, well, I really appreciate the opportunity. It's anytime anyone wants to talk to me about my job, I'm like, yep, let's do it.
I love it.
I mean, it's great, right? Like what we're doing now, just creating that framework for future generations. I mean, I'm obviously grew up a Park and Rec kid and very passionate about what I do. So it's always fun to be able to share that.
All right, the Red Smith Sports Award Banquet Throwback. And this year we're heading to 2017, throwing it all the way back to 2017, where we get the one and only legendary Dr. J.
Yeah, incredible tonight at the Radisson Paper Valley Hotel for the Red Smith Banquet. Yeah, Dr. J, one of the biggest names to come to the banquet, in my mind, all time. He's got to be top 4 for sure names ever to come to the Red Smith Banquet. Dr. J.
Yeah, he's nice guy, went to the schools, talked to kids. He was fantastic. It's a great story, but remember, you're only getting a clip of the full throwback, and that full throwback comes out on our YouTube channel on Sunday. So, you're sitting here listening to this amazing podcast. Wait until Sunday when you get to hear the full throwback with Dr. J.
And do yourself a favor. We mentioned it in the open. Go listen to Larry Zonka from last week. Absolutely incredible. I think I scared some people. I laughed so loud.
Yeah, they're all fantastic in their own way, but we've had some really good ones over the last several weeks. So go check those out.
Red Smith Sports Awards. Banquet Throwback.
The Red Smith Award, of course, goes to someone who has made some unique contributions to sport in Wisconsin, and also epitomizes the great values that Red Smith exhibited.
Let's give a Red Smith welcome.
Ladies and gentlemen, our Nice Guy Award winner at the Red Smith Banquet this year, the one and only Dr. J's in the house, Julius Erving.
Thank you, ladies, gentlemen. I just have to tell you, when you're on a program at the latter part of a banquet, sometimes whatever it is that you were thinking about before the banquet just goes right out the window. But it's always replaced by something else. And that certainly happened to me tonight because for the last couple of hours while sitting over at the Shields table, who's the name that I see on here, who are the sponsors of this award. We thank you for that. We thank you. We thank you for allowing me to come in and receive it. And in terms of the message that I got by just sitting and listening to the various people who came up and were interviewed by Dave and went back and forth with him, I got connected to a time in my life that, for all intents and purposes, at this age, I don't think about a whole lot. You had high schoolers receiving awards, and it made me think about, my time at Roosevelt Junior Senior High School in Long Island, which I hadn't thought about in a while. You got community service awards. You got the colleges represented, most commonly the University of Wisconsin's at the various campuses that it has. So it made me think about my UMass days. And of course, you had the semi-pro teams as well as the pro teams. So there's a whole spectrum of sports connections that were talked about tonight. And, unlike, so many who are in the broadcasting industry or the analysis industry or, the media, I'm really not there on a continuous basis. That these days, I make a cameo here or a cameo there, become a guest or, and a person to be interviewed. But, I don't live it. So for whatever reason, while I was sitting there, I realized that, there's a huge disconnect that coming here to Appleton today has encouraged me to reconnect with. Wow. Because I think it's that important. And I think that, some of the things that have been my experiences over the last 50 years in sports, because I think I started seriously, well, maybe it's the last 60 years, because I probably started playing sports seriously when I was 6 or 7 years old. And just think if I knew then what I know now. But I will possibly have the ability to share it with some other people, young and old, who could benefit from that. And I think it was at that age, when I first became committed to a set of values that I still hold near and dear to me today. I figure that each and every day of my life, I need to challenge myself to try and be as close to the perfect person as I can be. And on a scale of 1 to 10, this is something that we could all do. Because you can take the various categories, of which there are 4, and you could decide, well, what number are you at right now with each of them? And those categories are physically. Where are you at physically? Are you a 1 or are you a 10? Are you a 5 or are you a 6? Are you a 7, 8? Where are you? And mentally, where are you, 1 through 10? Emotionally and spiritually. So it was at a very young age, I started thinking about those 4 things, and if I could get them all at 10s, I would be as close to perfect as I could be. And I'd be very, very close to God because that's the only perfect being that there is, and nobody gets all 10s. And even if you got a 10 in a given day or in a given month, it might not stay there, because physical is unpredictable, as is emotional, as is mental. Spiritual is a little less unpredictable. So the takeaway today, and the segue into my interview with Dave, will be that think about that concept of being better than you are. Maybe, definitely, you never will get to a level of being perfect, but try and get as close as you can in those areas, because that will make you a pretty nice guy or a pretty nice girl. Thanks for that.
Go ahead, that's it right there.
All right.
I'll take that too.
All right.
There we go. Oh, look what just popped up.
It's a pop-up.
I gotta ask about the fro. I mean, you're not doing it anymore, obviously, but
that's my son's hair now. Actually,
there's, I think, another one. Show one more. I think there's one more we want to show here. Keep it rolling. There's one more. One more picture. The next one up. Come on now. Oh no.
That would not be me.
That's full disclosure. That's
you.
Me.
Oh, okay.
God.
Look at the similarity.
Oh, jeez. Look at that.
Look at the similarity.
Not quite to your level.
Specs.
The fro was in though back then.
You got the chain.
Yeah, I don't. That must have been a picture of show what you got for Christmas thing going on there. Look at the glasses
is that a
too.
Fitbit you have on? Is that Fitbit?
That's circa
Microsoft watch. No.
Oh yeah.
Way before that stuff.
Oh, that was ugly. I'm going to jog your memory for a second.
Okay.
You almost were a Milwaukee Buck.
I almost was, and actually, I was the property of the Milwaukee Bucks.
Yeah.
Based on the draft, and the draft of 1972.
Right. What happened back then? It was kind of weird, wasn't it?
Milwaukee drafted me, and I had signed a contract with Atlanta at the conclusion of my contract with the Virginia Squires, who I was presently playing with. And it was my second year as a pro. The reason they were able to draft me was because the NBA had a rule: you can't draft a player till his class graduates.
Oh, yeah.
My class literally was the class of 72. I went to college in 68.
Sure.
It was the class of 72, and I left school in 1971.
Okay. Did you know who two of your teammates would have been at that time? Oscar Robertson.
Of course. So, the Bucks were the champions in
and Kareem
72.
Abdul-Jabbar won Lou Alcindor.
Exactly.
What a team.
That could have been fun. But in Atlanta, when I signed with Atlanta, I mean, I knew I would be playing with Walt Bellamy, who's a Hall of Famer, Pete Maravich, and Lou Hudson.
Man. When did you find out? When did you first dunk, and how did it feel?
When I first dunked, it was a donut in a cup of tea. Actually tasted a lot better than it felt.
I bet it did. I set myself up.
It tasted much better than it felt. Actually, all you feel is it just coming apart in your hand.
Oh yeah, I got it. I'm with you. So, you like the NBA? You love the NBA? What would you improve? I
love the NBA and the association.
Yeah.
That's the term that we use now when you're part of that family, you're part of its history. Then you're part of the association. So, I really care. I'm not a diehard fan of any kind, and I'm not a harsh critic of any kind, because I don't work in the business of basketball or the business of sports. Sure. But, my brand has a presence there, and that's one of the things that, we try to protect and share with others. Sure. That's why I'm here hanging with y'all.
That's right. And we're glad to have you.
It's my pleasure.
It has been an absolute joy. Has it not?
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm going to end it right there.
Yeah. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Dr. J. Julius Erving.
Thank you. Happy to be here. All right.
That's yours. What was that, Tom?
All right, Tosh, another awesome throwback. Folks, literally, please go back and check them out. We have Euchre, we have Larry Zonka, we have a ton of folks. Dr. J, I mean, you cannot beat them. They are laugh out loud funny. So Newsa-Cast YouTube page, like, subscribe. There's a lot of them there, and new ones come out every Sunday. So with that said, Tosh, our show is coming pretty close here to an end, but we always like to end it with a little "It's forgotten and I'm never forgetting." So what's forgotten in your world?
Well, we're just coming off the super fun Hallmark holiday of Valentine's Day. So what you need to forget is the cheap chocolates that you buy at, I don't know, Target or Wally World or wherever you're going. And you need to remember the fantastic chocolate like Wilmar's, or chocolate like Hughes's and Oshkosh, which are fantastic. And don't, shout out Hughes's, and you walk downstairs and you smell the chocolate, you see where they're working on it, and you line up, and it's like the soup Nazi, get your order in, pay for it, and leave up the stairs. So Wilmar's and Appleton is classic. Hughes's and Oshkosh is amazing as well. So forget that cheap chocolate. Remember some good stuff.
But that first time I ever went to Hughes, I didn't even know what was happening. I mean, you're so right. You are walking into somebody's basement, and I mean, this house that's probably 100-year-old house. Those old stone basements that you walk into. It's
exactly.
It's nuts. What is going on here?
Yeah, I love that place. So good. So good. Absolutely. So what are you forgetting, Joe?
Well, Tosh, actually, I think this is a nice, this one is going to pair well with yours. I gandered it at the Tuesday evening post-Crescent, February 16th, 1926, as I often do. And I came across this incredible ad for, it's called Service Bakery. They were located at 509 West Washington Street in Appleton. But this was a delivered twice daily fresh, warmed baked goods direct from our oven to your oven. And that started on February 18th of 1926. But it's incredible. So they had a morning, every morning, our wagons will leave early enough so that you may have fresh, warm rolls, donuts, or other baked goods for breakfast or noon dinner. I love that, noon dinner. And then in the afternoons, our wagons will make another trip over the same territory so that you may have fresh pastries for evening dinners or parties. And they had like sudden service. They had, at the time, the most modern equipment, tempting pastries, fine light bread. Incredible. So yeah, they and the special to open it was a Jap pastry. Something new and delicious, Tosh. Not sure what that was, but it was new and delicious. But I feel like that service would work now, don't you?
Yeah, I think that service would probably really work now.
Yeah.
I mean, we're getting that day and age where we have DoorDash and everything else. So
I guess that's what it is. You can get Dunkin' and all that. But I mean, I'm sorry. There's the Simple Simons and just the home
Hilltop.
Hilltop. There's a couple of them out there that are just terrific bakeries and I'm sure this one was too. Oh
yeah, absolutely.
Making me hungry. Cool. All right, Tosh. Well, we got to end on a good note. So what's something that you're never forgetting?
Well, my boys played hockey, so we've been watching the Four Nations hockey tournament. And it's kind of taken over for the NHL All-Star game this year. It's been fantastic. It's been great hockey. The United States-Canada was a classic matchup. As we record this, the United States is playing Sweden right now. The United States has punched their ticket to the finals, and we'll have to see who they're going to play. But I really, truly hope that they play Canada again, because it's that there's nothing better than USA Canada. It's fantastic. I
mean, they were throwing gloves before the fight or before the puck even dropped,
9 seconds.
right?
9 seconds.
Oh,
in.
9 seconds.
Yeah, three fights in 9 seconds. Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, that's incredible. Yeah, I mean, I'm not a huge hockey guy, but when the Olympics happen, you watch hockey. When stuff like this happens, people like me will definitely tune in. So, my God, that'd be a really highly viewed spectacle for sure. USA, Canada too.
Yeah, if they have USA, Canada too, that's going to be quite the show. So we'll have to see if it plays out in their favor. So, Joe, I know what I'm never forgetting. What are you never forgetting?
Well, Tosh, I know I said we're supposed to end on a good note. This isn't really a good note. Dude, this is unreal. You're not going to believe this story. Saturday, I'm in the mail truck. I'm in State and College. And that was the day we had a lot of snow.
Yeah.
Light turns green, and I am in a mail truck. You're not gunning it into the intersection. Get into this intersection, and I hear this incredible screech. Look, it's a snowplow blade. Dude, I got I'm sorry, I shouldn't swear there. Got slammed by a city snowplow. He ran a red light right into the side of the mail truck. Totaled the mail truck. It's a miracle I didn't flip, but goodness sakes, I'm never forgetting that moment, Tosh.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Seriously.
It was nuts. 10:23 in the morning, I think the report said. So, yeah, I mean, it was nuts. I got out of the van. I knew I had the green light.
Yeah.
And I think he said something like, "You okay?" I'm like, yeah. Somebody yelled, "You okay?" I'm like, that was fine. I think my arm got dinged a little bit, but I'm fine as the time of recording. But I looked at the guy and I'm like, I had the green light, right? And he's like, yeah, he kind of sheepishly said yes, but I know I had the green light and I know I didn't gun it into the intersection. And I looked both ways even before going with the green light, and bam, that was just odd. So yeah, that was a crazy day.
I can't even imagine.
No,
I'm sure. So how did all that mail get delivered then?
Dude, I carried the rope, man. Tough as nails. Got it. Took the creed. You got to deliver the mail. No, So we were fighting two things. It was really, actually, I should say, for people that didn't get their mail, there's a lot of people that didn't get their mail that day. It was really, really tough to get to traverse. Obviously, because of the snow. That's the day it snowed all right through the day. So I don't know. Some would say we shouldn't have even been on the streets to begin with, but it is the post office, and we pretty much go through just about everything. So that's what we were trying to do that day. But yeah, I had to bring the van back. I was 4 blocks from the post office, went back and got a different vehicle. And yeah, because everything in the back, all the mail's kept in the back. That all got thrown because one of the blades actually went right through the side of the van. Like what appears like, anyway, not to get morbid, but I mean, what if that was, if that was 8 feet, 6 feet more forward, my head's right there, kind of a thing. Right. You don't want to think about that, but I thought about that.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, you get a new truck, and I went and just, delivered the mail. City 32, got about 2/3 of the way through the route, I would say, that day.
All right.
So it ended up being an 8-hour day, and I came home. I was actually kind of sore that Saturday night. I ordered a lot of comfort food. Tosh had it delivered to me, and I chilled, and I don't even know what the heck I watched. Couldn't even tell you, but chilled on the couch with my dog Hazel.
All right. Well, a good ending to a tough story, so that's good.
Yeah. Well, with that, folks, anyway, that was a banger of an episode, and we've got some great interviews coming up for future episodes. Tosh and I are on a roll, so thank you to Niki Wendt and Appleton Park and Rec. Make sure to check out their programs, and thanks, Tosh, for another great show. Always a hoot.
Always a hoot. Thank you for listening to another great episode of the Newsa-Cast. We'd really appreciate it if you hit up our social pages, subscribe, like, follow, and don't be afraid to engage. Head over to our YouTube channel to get exclusive content like the full interviews and speeches from the past Red Smith banquets.
A huge thank you to Diggstown for all the music in today's episode. Catch a gig or find them on Spotify.